We don't want our livelihood or our security to be based on someone else's feelings. That's not power. That's not self-determination, right? We want a quality of mutual accommodation that values are deeper than feelings and more secure than feelings. Like I said, for example, I think you should go over to www.funkyacademic.com because I actually am helping you not squander your life or confuse the advice you give to your friends, because you might tell them to suck up. A lot of people tell their friends to suck up and get through because sucking up is just the way it has to be. But then they're surprised when they're on antidepressants and then their friends are confused. And then what happens when sucking up doesn't work? That's always the saddest thing. You see these people who mortgage all of their dignity to suck up, and then it turns out that it was never going to work anyway. Right? And that's the game that's being played by a Jeff Bezos or a Donald Trump or any of these billionaires. They want you to think, maybe if I suck up just enough, if I just pucker in just the right way or do the right hand stuff, that the billionaire will give me money. And the billionaires want to keep you on the rope. They're like that, you hear these stories about these mistresses of wealthy people, and the person says, well, I'm going to leave my wife, I'm going to leave my husband for you, and they just to kind of string the mistresses along. The billionaires want to do that with entire classes of people. They want the culture to be that the way to make it in America is to suck up to a rich person. And this is both the billionaires and the billionaires' wives who run the nonprofits. They want the culture of America to be that the way Americans make it is to suck up to people with money. Call them their mentors or whatever. And that's not going to work for anyone's dignity. And Black people, that's just not going to work for us. That's just not going to work. That someone said that side chick mentality. That's just not going to work for us at the community level. We need to be able to use the levers of power and then identify leverage and then use it. Like I said, Black people, we need to look at the institutions that we exert public power over that white people also participate in, and then change the curriculum. For example, public schools. This is why I think CRT, critical race theory, should be in public schools. This is why I think we should go right after their kids. I think we should go right after their family. I think we should look at any institution, public institution, that we share with white people and exploit that leverage as a public institution and shame and tell the truth about like what it is and like how that institution ends up sustaining racial degradation across America. Cotton wasn't profitable. The market had globalized sufficiently that the price of cotton had gone down. So the time when cotton was king was gone. But the cotton farmers, the white cotton farmers, still like Black people growing cotton, and exclusively cotton, because that kept them under control through debt and crop liens, right? And a crop lien is when like the white owner, functionally the guy who owns the property, takes a share of your crop every year in lieu of giving you the tools to farm your crop. And it turned out that Black people, would you believe, we always ended up in debt. So we'd farm, we'd give the owner the crop, and then it turns out instead of paying us a fair price, he would say like, well, you almost made it back this year. You almost made it even, but you're still in the red. Sorry, maybe next year. And since education was dicey at that time and the books weren't open, we had to take the white owner's word for it that our crop wasn't enough crop. So these crop liens but the farmer would also offer script. So you had these plantation stores where Black people could go and buy food and wares, and where they had to buy food and wares because that was the only place that the plantation script would work, right? So Black people couldn't actually couldn't actually grow their own fruits and vegetables because they were growing cotton, not for profit, but to get out of this debt, which magically never went away. And white farmers weren't exactly making a ton of money, but they were keeping Negroes in control, which is what they wanted anyway. People think, the racial hierarchy is held together by exploitation and profit, but it's really not held together by exploitation and profit. It's held together by power. Power. White people like having a class under them, even if they have to pay for it. even if they have to work their other job in order to keep a class under them. So it's held together by prestige and power over an underclass, not necessarily profit. It will be unprofitable, and white people would still like a slave class because they like slaves, right? So you have to understand that one reason why those planters didn't grow fruits and vegetables to sell to the North, because the North would have bought them at actually, and the planters would have made money, was because that would have allowed rampant fruits and vegetables to be grown in the American South, and black people might have not had, it would have destabilized the control that really the cotton economy sustained, right? So even though cotton wasn't profitable in the early 20th century, there was still a cotton economy because the cotton economy was the means of control. People think, the racial hierarchy is held together by exploitation and profit, but it's really not held together by exploitation and profit. It's held together by power. Power. White people like having a class under them, even if they have to pay for it, even if they have to work their other job in order to keep a class under them. So it's held together by prestige and power over an underclass, not necessarily profit. It will be unprofitable, and white people would still like a slave class because they like slaves. So this idea that the planter class of white planters were just ruthless capitalists, no, they were white supremacists. Cotton was the means for the white supremacy. It wasn't necessarily a means for money. Right? They could have planted fruits and vegetables and gotten more money, but they wanted control over black masses of people. And they got that through a monoculture of cotton, and making it the case that black people it wouldn't be profitable or even possible for black people to grow their own food. Sarah Tauber. But just look up Jim Crow crop liens and just how you control black populations through debt. It's, or through the promise that if they just work a little bit hard, if they just hustle harder. And this is the hustle ethic we're dealing with right now. People say, well, if you just hustle harder, you can make it. That's kind of like the Jim Crow farmer telling black people, well, if you just hustle more next year, maybe you'll get in the black. No, the secret isn't hustle harder. The secret is wielding power where you have it.